Welcome back to Beyond the Screen, the podcast where I sit down with streamers and content creators to dive into their stories, struggles, and wins. Every episode recorded live on Twitch. So if you want to check out during the hangout, during the interviews, check out the link below or join us at twitch.tv/strategies. Today is a special one because I'm joined by ForestOfWires, also known as Carl DeLinton. Fun fact, Carl was actually my very first guest on Beyond the Screen. But the original recording was lost into the void and could not be recovered. So in a way, this feels like a full circle moment to finally have him back on the show. So, well, if you don't know who he is, Carl is an interdimensional wizard of streaming and storytelling with a unique voice in the community. We're diving into his journey, his perspective, and everything in between. Carl, welcome to the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the world.
Saturday. It is thy day. For those who don't know, I don't know when you're discovering this interview, but for those that are here live right now with us in this very moment, they know that it is currently September the 20th, 2025, which happens to be a Saturday. So, I am honored that on your day of all days, I have a chance to speak with thee. Now, who am I? Well, this is a question I think we all wrestle with. Who am I? Am I one with myself? What is my character? And by that, I don't mean necessarily a persona. I mean, what is the quality of our character, so to speak? And that's something I think, gosh, well, I certainly battle with. And to answer the question in a more succinct manner, I am a wizard from another dimension, from a place called Cackle Keep. And speaking of which, you've been to Cackle Keep, you've been to the ForestOfWires, you've been to the Mage Tower, and you've done very well. You've been an integral part of our council. So, while I am introducing myself, I want to put it through the lens of someone that is thankful for thy presence. Saturday.
Yeah, I'm proud to be part of your community and just like being a part of it, being an integral part of it. It's great. Nothing really can really compete with it.
Well, Saturday, I'm honored that we can get to discuss this then. This is great.
Yes,
how you feeling? How we doing?
And actually record it. And not lose the recording
this time. There's no taking it away from us this time. Absolutely. Yes. But, last time, I think we should have a discussion every so often. Just keep them updated regularly, to be honest. So it's okay. We lost. It was like a pilot episode. It was a test run.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Here I am with just a bit more experience. And, well, I think that just makes it that much better.
That's true.
So, let's get into the nitty gritty and just say, well, you go by ForestOfWires, but also Carl the Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
But where did the wizard persona come from, and how much of it is you versus the character?
That's a great question. First of all, we're going to get to the nitsy gritty. Emphasis on the grits. When I started streaming, I was doing different characters, to be honest, depending on what game I was playing. It would be something like, if I did a wrestling game, I'd be a wrestling character. And if I did Kid Chameleon, I wore a white shirt and sunglasses, like the guy from Kid Chameleon. And one day I realized, gosh, I need to get back to my roots, which is MMORPGs. So I went live on Ultima Online. And on Ultima Online, my character was a wizard. And so I thought, all right, I've been a wrestler. I've been Kid Chameleon. I've been all these different variants. Why don't I be a wizard? And I've been playing with the name Carl DeLinden since I was a young. That's a long-term character. I had a whole DeLinden family at one point, matter of fact. Before I made Carl DeLinden, there was Dean DeLinden, Carl's uncle. He was a blonde-haired guy with a big mustache and a sword fighter. But that Carl DeLinden character just seemed to stick, and it's ironic, and it's perhaps poetic and symmetrical that it's the same character that seemed to take off on Twitch as well. So here we are. Carl DeLinden was born and lives, breathes, and thrives to this day.
It's a good story. I really didn't know much about your DeLinden family, so tell us more.
Yeah, have you seen the Super Mario Brothers movie, the new one, the animated one?
Yeah.
So there's that scene where they go and visit Mario, and it's like a whole family of the Marios, right? It's like, they all look like Mario, but a little different, just variants, right? And I think we can all relate to that. There's somewhere in the past, somewhere out there was a table of DeLindens all sitting around, all kind of looking the same, but different variants. And I think, like I said, we can all kind of relate to that, right? I mean,
yeah.
We all have family members that kind of look like us, but they're different. We're all kind of cloning each other one way or another. And gosh, I think the DeLinden family, it's a strong one. It's a good lineage. A lot to be proud of.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so, in the Earth realm, they call it rock and roll.
Yeah.
And I would concur. I've been through a lot. I have.
Yes.
It's been a wild journey. Gosh, I've faced many perils and many great enemies and hurdles and obstacles, like the time Stony stole one of the puplings. Stole the mother. Stole Bumpus. Mother Bumpus was stolen. Imagine how that felt to see the mother of the puplings, the mother of the Wonder Muffins, stolen, snatched away from us like that. Didn't know if we'd ever get her back. Terrified. And, I had to do whatever I had to fight really hard to get that Mother Bumpus back, and luckily, everything worked out and I was able to save that Mother Bumpus. But it's just one small example of the types of things I've been through and how hard it's been just to get Cackle Keep going. I think often people ask me, oh, how'd you build this place? What effort went into this? It's not about what effort went into building it. It's about the effort that went into getting to a place in life to where we could have some semblance of peace. So where we could have a Cackle Keep. I think often people tell stories and we get to the crescendo and they'll say, this was the ultimate battle and they lived happily ever after. Well, there's a lot to that. Happily ever after is not easy. There's a lot of struggle in happily ever after. There's a lot of at least maintenance. Happiness is a difficult pursuit. Even knowing how to be happy is a difficult pursuit. And so I think what's so important about Cackle Keep is that it's a place where you can pursue a happily ever after, where you can kick up your feet and relax and say, the mission's done. This is a facility beyond the woes that many face. It's a place where you can escape from it. I think escapism is so key. And gosh, it's a place to offer a way to enhance your happily ever after, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot to that. It's easier said than done. Now, that being said, there will continue to be struggle. I know that Sosaria is a land rife with rumbles. I know it's just a matter of time before the next ominous villain, the next problem turns up. It's only a matter of time before Stony learns how to use that dream cube. It's only a matter of time before those two goblins, Craglorp and Gary, find their way into something real perilous that becomes a problem for us all. It's only a matter of time before Gromulus finds a new way to, influence, to reach out and to change things. Those things will happen. But for now, I'm working to enhance our happiness and that pursuit of peace.
So tell us how Gromulus got hold of the growing potion.
So, from what I understand, Gromulus has been developing different mechanisms over the years. First, Gromulus was a mere goblin. He was just a small creature, but I think Gromulus had an inkling that it would suit his efforts better to enhance his strength. So what he developed was a way to distort the DNA of a rock. There was a rock that could speak. Now the DNA of this rock was already distorted because it was a talking rock. And Gromulus found a way. It was a serum that he could use on said rock, and it turned the rock into a beast, into a monster, and it gave it human features, an enhanced human rock creature. And that was all well and good until Stony, the mutated rock creature, how do they say, went into business for himself, unfortunately, for Gromulus. And Stony ran roughshod on Gromulus and damaged him really, really bad. Really caused him a lot of harm and almost tore down the entirety of the Goblin Empire after being such an important part of their security detail. And the unfortunate part about that for Gromulus was that it really stripped away any sense of protection or safety that Gromulus had at that point. He was left a vulnerable, small goblin, was getting thrown to the floor left and right. And then Gromulus said, you know what? I need to be better than this. I need to create something that will be a way for me to be greater than what I am. And what he came up with was the Robody. The Robody was a human-sized suit, a robot, in which Romulus could, enter the Robody and steer and control said mechanisms. And at first, the Robody was a little more stiff. Didn't move very well. And they used something called globule berries, which, when smushed down, creates a juice that is the color of skin. It's a skin type hue, and they slather that on the Robody. So the Robody was no longer sticking out with the green. It originally had green skin from the because it was a robot, so it turned green from the liquid, as things do. But with the globule berries, the liquid actually turned it into the skin hue. And at that point, the Robody really started to become powerful. And Gromulus developed something called the Bone Staff of Ultimate Vanquishing, and that really did a number on Stony. And Stony was kind of left by the wayside eventually. Stony was defeated and destroyed. Now, eventually, Stony found a way back. Stony was able to get vengeance upon Gromulus, and Stony was able to once again really hurt the goblin form of Gromulus, and this was the final stand. At that point, Gromulus said, we need to do something breathtaking. We need to do something that will dazzle our enemies. We need to do something that will change the course of history. So Gromulus decided to combine his efforts, not only using the Robody, but injecting it with the very serum that changed Stony. And when that liquid became infused with the metal mechanisms, it caused it to have the same kind of effect it had on Stony. It caused Gromulus to merge with the Robody, and Gromulus grew in ultimate proportions. The metal began to swell to an unbelievable rate, and it grew out of control. It was actually exponential effects of what they expected. Because if you think about it, Stony started about this big. He was a small rock.
Yeah.
And then he grew human size, while the Robody started human size. So it was a far greater growth than they had expected, because, as it turns out, it's sort of a multiplicative effect where as the serum took effect, it didn't just grow to the same ratio that it grew Stony. It was like a perpetual. It just kept growing and growing and growing because it was exponential. It grew, and the growth grew, and the growth of the growth grew. So what they were left with was an absolutely massive robot. A Robody that could have destroyed everything, and darn near did. It destroyed a piece of Cackle Keep, a very sacred part, was smashed into smithereens, never to be recovered. It was partially rebuilt, of course, thanks to Afgra. Now we have Afgra Tower, stands where that tower once did. And what I had to do was, well, as we all know, sometimes if you get kicked in the head by a horse, you suddenly gain supernatural powers. Has it ever happened to you? You get kicked in the head real hard, and then you suddenly gain the ability to speak a foreign language, or see through walls.
I'll say it has happened several times. Yeah, I just got the ability to just, well, as you know, learn how to use my tracker is really great.
Right.
Yeah. Just the magical powers. Yeah.
Yes, mechanisms for.
Yeah.
And here's the risk, though, because if you get hit in the head again, you're probably gonna forget how to do all of that, as we know from logic. So what I thought to myself was, okay, the distortion serum, it made Gromulus one way. What if I, so to speak, hypothetically, force kick him in the head again, and then perhaps reverse the effects? Now, this was very risky because if it didn't go the way I wanted, then he would have grown so big that he could have been the size of a planet or something. I don't know. But I infused the row body with the distortion serum, and he did come back down to size. Thank goodness. Thank gosh, golly goodness, because that could have been the worst day of my life.
Oh man, I can't wait to see Granulus, his revenge. I can only imagine how powerful he can become. So I guess time will tell.
I have been fearful since then, and I have attempted to remain on good terms to the best of my ability with the goblins, because I fear that there will be retaliation, and I hope that if I can change enough goblin minds, that they will have mercy on my soul. But alas, we know that's likely not going to happen.
I mean, at the end, there are always going to be goblins. So, yeah.
There will, and there are going to be ghosts, and there are going to be ghouls. So, we need to live accordingly. We need to live as though there are ghosts all around us at every single moment, watching us, observing us, judging us.
Like in the real world, do you actually believe in the paranormal and like spirits and all that?
I think we are able to, well, I think we have ancestral spirits. Some call it DNA, some, for example, if you take a mouse and you program it in a Pavlovian sense, as in you condition it to have one certain thought, say a fear of a smell. Say you introduce a smell and you punish the mouse. When that mouse has children, and then those children have children, and they put that smell, that mouse is going to be afraid. They didn't teach the mouse. They didn't teach the grandchild of that mouse to be afraid. I think there is a DNA memory. There is an ancestral spirit. Call it what you will. But it's to be tempered, because though things live on, they are mutated. I think we should be cognizant of that, and yet respect the journey that allowed us to exist.
Well said.
Yeah, I do.
So, do we have any paranormal stories you can possibly share?
Paranormal? I do not, unfortunately. I wish I did. Mm-hmm. I think trying to think if there's even anything that was kind of coincidental and fun. You know. Oh, here's one. I got one for you. Now, you may know the story. I've told it before, and I wish I could say that it truly had a supernatural ending. It more has a cliffhanger ending. It's maybe supernatural. We still don't know. So here's the deal. One day, Merchant was out getting a tattoo. And Merchant gets some elaborate tattoos. Takes a long time to get those things done. So he was gone for a big portion of the day. And while he was out, of course, the puplings were going berserk. They were going out of their minds. Howling. Well, actually, excuse me. Let me run that back. The pupling. There was only Ignatius. It was just Ignatius. And he couldn't stand to be alone. He hated it. So Merchant left Ignatius alone to go get this tattoo. But I'm with Ignatius. I get a phone call. Merchant says, hey, someone must have left the door open because Ignatius is on the front lawn. I'm like, what do you mean? Ignatius is right here with me. He's like, well, I'm watching the security camera footage. Ignatius is on the front lawn. Go get him. And I'm like, well, that literally can't be. He's right here. He's not outside. I see him. Merchant says, well, I don't know what's going on, but go out there and take a look. So I have to admit, one thing I regret about this moment is that I didn't rush. I just thought this is a mistake or someone else's dog. And so I took my time. I went, got my shoes, went out there, walked casually, looking around. I'm like, I don't see anything. Fast forward. Merchant is out and he's walking Ignatius. And he sees the ghost dog. He runs up. And I think the story goes that the first time he saw the ghost dog ran away. Second time he sees the ghost dog. Now keep in mind, this is over like weeks. So this dog was like on the lawn and then in the same area for weeks on the streets. Or so we thought. We didn't know if it was a ghost or not. Merchant sees ghost dog, corners it, says, ha! Don't move, gotcha now. And I tell you what, that ghost looked exactly like Ignatius. I remember I came home one day. I don't remember where I was. I came home one day. There are now 2 Ignatiuses. He had cloned. I'm like, what the heck how did Ignatius clone? And we literally called them the clones back then. I'm like, what's going on? How did this happen? And Merchant said, remember the store? Remember when I was getting the tattoo? And we'd start putting pieces together. We're like, whoa, okay. So this is odd. This is this mystery dog. That's very strange. They look exactly alike. What's going on? We take her name tag and we're looking at it. And there's a phone number. Actually, first thing we did before we called the phone, we went around the neighborhood and just asked everybody we could find, knocked on doors, asked, hey, anybody have a dog? You know anybody with a dog? Nothing. So we call the number. Someone answers. A woman. She says, hi, well, yes, this is my number, and that is my number on the collar, but my dog passed away 10 years ago. So we're thinking, okay, first this dog is disappearing. Now we find out this dog passed away already. We got a ghost dog. What are we doing here? And I wish I could say the story ended there. I really do. Because then I could say for sure it was a supernatural event. However, she then went on to elaborate. She said, that is my dog, collar, but not my dog. My dog was a big brown dog, not a small white dog. So I don't know how that collar got on that dog, but that is not my dog. That dog and Ignatius then sparked up a relationship. They couldn't get enough of each other. They were obsessed. Everywhere they went, everywhere the ghost dog went, there's Ignatius. And one day, we hear they're screaming. They're both screaming in pain. We're like, whoa, 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 what's going on? Hey, hey, what'd you do? And as it turns out, they had engaged in romantical activities.
I see.
And well, a couple months later, they had 2 children. They were born, and as it turns out, the ghost dog is the mother Bumpy. And as it turns out, the clones cloned, because now, instead of 2 clones, we have 4. One strange thing, the mother no longer looks like her husband. I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the way, maybe the pregnancy, she looks totally different now. But if you look at old pictures, they were clones. Now you can clearly see who's who. They look very different, but I don't know. She changed. She got smaller somehow, too. I don't know how that happens, but they're Wonder Muffins. They really are. They're magical Wonder Muffins, and they have their own lives, and, Ignatius is a father now, and his kids are grown up. They're going to college, and, Ignatius is rediscovering his own joys now with his wife. And that's great.
Nice. Pretty soon there'll be empty nesters, I guess. I guess you can say.
Well, they're not empty. That's it. I know what you mean. They're not empty nesters because the kids are still around. They still see him every day. The kids do harass their father a lot, and the father does get a little upset with them, and he does scold them sometimes. He does get into shouting matches with them. But empty nesters, that's funny. But we might have had that situation, because if there were any more puppies than the 2, if they had 4 children, we probably would have had to give some up. I mean, 6 dogs, that would have been wild. But luckily, only 2 children. It was manageable. So, they do get to stay together.
That's good.
Which is good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really cool story.
Yeah. So it's sort of supernatural. I mean, it might be.
Yeah.
It's a cliffhanger. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally checked every house, knocked on every door, called so many numbers, put up flyers. No one knows this effing dog. And
That's crazy.
she's a great dog. She's so well behaved. She's the best behaved of the bunch. And yet, no one knows. No one knows anything about her. She just appeared. Very much like an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, what do you think keeps people coming back to your streams? Is it the gameplay, the wizardry, or something deeper?
You know what? I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
All I know is I have this place called Cackle Keep. I try to make it fun and different and evolving, and I'm there as the host, as a facilitator. I have to thank the facility. I suppose my ability to host the festivities there is worth something.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have to thank the fact that I think there's a great group, and I think it's almost something beyond me. I can look at, say, the group that may talk to Merchant. The Wagoneers is like a sect, a group. And sometimes I may go to someone else's channel, and it's people that may have formed a group from Cackle Keep. And sometimes I find out that people are meeting up in real life because of Cackle Keep. And then sometimes I find out that people are getting into long-term relationships because of Cackle Keep. And then I find out that people are meeting all kinds of other people because of Cackle Keep. And I think that's a big part of it as well. I think it's not just a way to see me. It is a transient to find one's way on another path, like a bus stop in the night. And that is what Cackle Keep is meant to be. I picture a worrisome, winding road in the mountains of despair, and so many adventurers like you, or like pick a member of the Mage Council. They were finding their way through these paths up and down these mountains, but in the distance they saw a place they could rest. And upon entering Cackle Keep, they found their way inside. They kicked up their feet. They had a seat. They found a way to enjoy their time. Now, as with any lodging, some may stay for one night and never return, but they will remember. Some may have a residency for many months. I would say most guests might stay about, if they are willing to stay, there's maybe a 3-4 month turnover where you're going to see different people. Every 3-4 months, you're going to see a different crop. Not all, because there's also another group of those who really are integral, who are the council, those who have found their way into leadership roles, like yourself, cornerstones who have been a part of the council for many, many years, such as, say a Tecalote. And there may be someone who they may not have been a part of the council for many, many years, but they quickly, swiftly, and efficiently became a really important cornerstone of everything we do, like a Hangito Verde. So it's a living, breathing place, like a resort, like a Disney World. It is a place to stay and to recuperate, recover, resurrect oneself, reassimilate, relocate your sights on what you want, but it may not be a place of permanent residency for all, and that's just fine. Yep. It's a different entity for everyone, and whatever the case may be, I wish for it in each of those different capacities to be a powerful and efficient rest and restoration of not just body, but of mind and spirit and emotion. So I might take guests on a ride. We may have the excitement of a good high score run, and then we may have the reckless chaos of a dance party. We may have the somber silence of a piano song, and perhaps even unadulterated sadness of a tune like Right Where It Belongs. And then back and loop to a sense of mystery when you see the lore video and begin the process again. I could attempt to merely just do things like pump it up and only pump it up and not do different aspects, because that maybe would be something be more appealing. But when you come to Cackle Keep, unlike other places that you may find on Twitch or on the ForestOfWires of the cybernetic universe of this world, it will be a dynamic experience. It will be one in which you're not feeling the same. You may have a laugh, you may all be laughing together, but a different feeling is right around the corner. And whichever one you may seek out, there will certainly be one you can pick up a breadcrumb trail to. And at the end of it all, there will be a group that remains. And not only will I cherish their presence, but they will bond with each other in ways beyond my understanding. This is at the core of the experience. This is tantamount to our success. This is how I define it. It is not a numerical value. It is of the energy and the passion and the bonds that I see shaped in the landscapes surrounding us all.
Yeah, you really built a great community. I can really say that. And just to have members of your community just get together in real life, it must mean like something special to you that we just wanted to get to know each other, like members of the community, just get to know each other. I see it as really like a beautiful thing.
You know, Fozzie, for example, you know, you get to know Fozzie on a screen name level. And for example, right here tonight, we can see Fozzie is a great hero. Is you know, such a kind contributor to energy and to the stream. And then on the flip side, you discover that there's a whole human behind Fozzie the 5000. And that's when, you know, the glory really blooms. Because you learn that there's this whole human, this fascinating person, a great man, who is as kind and helpful in reality as you might presume from the text in our cybernetic landscape of Twitch.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, Fozzie is a great example of someone who is such a great hero.
Yeah, for sure.
And there are many.
Thanks to Fozzie, we have a hype train.
Hype!
Guito Verde with 2,000 bits. Nice. Level 3. Nice. Awesome. So, in regards to Twitch, if you had to cast a single spell to fix one thing about Twitch, what would it be?
Well, a spell for Twitch. I believe Twitch is, compared to other platforms, quite emotionally volatile. And I say this as somewhat of an outsider. I really don't understand the ways. But I think if somehow I could cast a spell of greater understanding and perhaps grace to forgive and to truly accept, not just say you accept and accept the easy things that are anyone can accept easy things. To say you're truly inclusive and accepting and forgiving is to do the hard work, face difficult compromise. And, well, if Daniel Clancy could find it in his heart to go ahead and finally give me a panel at TwitchCon or let me perform, give me a front page spot, brother. Come on, Daniel. I'm going to cast a spell of, please, Daniel, give me something. I'm begging over here.
Yeah, you do a great job. You definitely deserve that. You like at least have a performance right on TwitchCon. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, you know, Daniel Clancy is an enigma, for better or worse.
Well, you got your own convention, Carl Con, so
yes,
I think that's good enough right there.
I'm so psyched for the next one.
Yeah.
Every time I get excited about doing stuff like, you know, TwitchCon and stuff like that, it just reminds me that CarlCon is a chance to do it my way, to do it even better. And in a sense, it's always birthed from my excitement about TwitchCon is where CarlCon comes from. So every time I go on one of these trips, yes, I'm excited about TwitchCon. Don't get me wrong, I am. I really am. But at the same time, I'm ready to just absorb anything I can get out of it to apply to CC3 because that's the most important event of the year. I mean, we have a couple of very important events, but it's all to inform and to inspire what will take place in probably May 2026 in Richmond, Virginia. And gosh, the last one was great. It was the second one. I wager the next one will be greater. And as I said, I'm excited for these other events coming up too. They will certainly inform my inspiration for CarlCon, and that's great.
Yeah, it's only going to get better from here. So,
and you never know because sometimes I meet someone for the first time at TwitchCon. You know, maybe not discover them for the first time, but I might like really meet them for the first time, and then that causes them to come to CarlCon. So it's also a recruitment in a sense to go to these events, you know, like
you can see it that way too.
Yeah, like there are people I met at TwitchCon who ended up coming to CarlCon because we hung out, and gosh, I can't wait to keep that pattern going.
Yeah, it's a good what do you call it? Like a cyclical thing.
Exactly, it's cyclical.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's a yearly cycle, and it's a developing cycle. And at some point, I would love it if we had a whole routine that almost every month we knew one trip or one event. Like in May, CarlCon. In June, Chicago. In July, San Diego. In August, whatever. You know, just have like an actual cycle of ebbs and flows and inspiration with which we can, you know, have something to look forward to at all times. But we shall see.
Yeah. So, Friendly Fighter TV has a question for me, but I can also ask you to ask you as well. But I'll answer for myself. What gives me strength and what brings me happiness? Well, what gives me strength is just like having people that care for me around me and just give me the opportunity to just be who I want to be, like be this certain persona and try to entertain my viewers or try to create content that's unique. And that's why I really did this podcast series. It's just not only for myself, it's like it gets people aware that the dreamers are actual people And there is something, well, beyond the screen, a lack of a better term. So yeah, same thing I can say, but what brings me happiness is just like people that enjoy my content. And do I have any wisdom I'd like to share with others that might have struggled with their own? Not to really like minimize things, but like you'll always be someone worse off than you. And it's like, I guess it gives me the motivation to be a better person. And even though I'm bedridden and physically disabled, I have a trach on my neck, but it really hasn't stopped me from being what I really want to, a content creator. And just, I guess, yourself included, Carl, just giving me the opportunity to really be who I really am and just curious about these streamers that I watch. Yeah, so I guess I can forward that on to you. How would you answer that question?
What brings me happiness is when other people are happy, I think is a big thing. It makes me happy to make people happy. There's a certain feeling of, if you know you've made everyone happy, you can kind of rest easy. Like, okay, I did my bit. I did my bit for the day. People out there somewhere happy because of me. If they're not happy because of you, if you've messed something up, if you've done the wrong thing or didn't do the right thing, there's this sense of tension, like, oh gosh, I've effed something up. You know, people are upset right now because of me. You know, I made a mistake and now someone's angry or they're mad at me or mad at someone else. Then it's harder to rest. You know, it's harder for me to just go, oh, you know, whatever. I can't. You know, I just the thought lingers and dwells. So I guess I say this because just trying to explain the fact that I really find happiness in making people happy because it offers this sense of relief. Like, okay, I did something right. Someone's a little happier right now, so we can kind of settle down. I do think though that happiness is such a difficult thing, and it comes with enjoyment. Like, I think there's the concept of knowing what you like is very difficult. And I think it's something that people take for granted if they do know what they like. And if they don't, they may have convinced themselves that they do, but they don't even realize that they don't. I think it's actually a very complex thing to say, like, I know what I like, I know what I want. And not just, I want $1 million. Yes, what do you do with the $1 million? And then boil it down. What would really make you happy about that $1 million? That's a difficult question. What is something you can enjoy the journey of? Not the outcome. What do you really, really enjoy the process of? What's something you could do until you're 100? Whether whether you could retire off of it when you're 70 or you're broke at 80 from it. What's something you can actually enjoy so much that you love it and you can do it at any cost? That's a very difficult question, even for hobbies. You know, I think finding like a game you really, really love even is hard. And some people can convince themselves they love a game. You know, a new release comes out, they say, oh, I love this game. But to be a true fanatical devotee of something is a little more rare and difficult than I think people realize. To say, man, I'm a fan of this. I love this. I could do this every day. That's hard for people to find. And it goes with activities and with people and with lifestyle choices. finding peace, finding that sense of like, okay, I'm doing what I think I should be doing. I did my bit for today. Okay. You know, I'm enjoying this. That's very difficult. Very, very difficult. I think few people actually get there, truly. And so that's what I'm striving for, is to find the process. Find a way to make people happy.
I guess the follow-up question to that is like, what does being successful look like to you? I mean, are you living that now, or you want something more, or what is it?
That's a leveled question. I would say a ton of money. Good start. Haha. I know it's easy to say money is my happiness, money is F money. I mean, money is something. You do need money to some degree, because if I had a ton of money, whoa, then I could like do way more. Then I could do, you know, more lore videos, more books, more everything. But without a budget, you're bound to what you can do, like on your own.
So
I can do video games.
What would you do if you didn't have a budget? You just have unlimited money. What would you do? Be like Witcher Beast or something, or what?
Well, money is interesting because it doesn't buy happiness, but it sure opens many doors, because, you know, you could, but at the same time, you know, I really do enjoy my process right now. I'm working on trying to learn how to find even more bliss and harmony. Of course, we all are. But you know, I think that aside, money is one thing, right? But success is, I think, you can be rich, and if everyone around you hates you, that's a problem. I think family is very important. Being true to your own family, and being kind and appreciating them is, I think, being able to appreciate your family is a sign of success, I think. Being able to create a family, you know, start your own story of a lineage there, obviously that would be like a sign of success. I think legacy, and by that I mean, what are you leaving behind? You know, what content is going to live on? What are people going to find about you? And also success.
Yeah.
I think it's we can break that down, you know, into shorter things, but again, make people happy is a good one. You know, success. That's yeah, what is it? It's like the goalposts are ever changing, right? Because if you ask someone who's already achieved all the things I just listed, someone who's rich and has everything, they would define success differently. I don't know. That's a big question. You know, maybe success is just getting to hug a puppy, because it, you know, or just getting to. I keep coming back to the feeling. Whatever is the thing for you. We all have this our own ritual. You know, maybe it's like logging into your favorite game. Like for me, what it used to be was I would hate school. I'd be like, just get through the day, just get this over with. But at some point, I knew I was going to be in Ultima Online and go, I'm in my world. I can do what I want. I can go and dig rocks, and I can go cast magic spells, and I can go tame animals. And that moment of like, okay, for whatever happened in the world, whatever happened in the history of mankind and life, for whatever reason, at this point, I can sit down and relax and explore Ultima Online, and that felt good. So that sure felt like success. That's
So-
many generations of success coming to fruition right there.
Yeah.
Is any one wrong turn along the way with the ancestors, we could be in much bigger trouble. So just getting to enjoy any moments is, I think, a sign of many, many years of success.
So is it more like an escapism kind of thing, or what?
Escapism is big, right? That's
Mhm.
that's like everything, right? Entertainment is a way to explore and see things outside of yourself,
Mhm.
right? Like, yeah, escapism is a big relief. It's a big sign of
It is.
success, I would say, is to be able to indulge in escapism. And it's certainly something I hope to create, too. I hope people who come to Cackle Keep never feel the weight of the Earth realm bearing
Right.
down on them. I try to minimize that. I know it's impossible, but I try to minimize it.
Right. Well, I got this image I want to show you. I just want you, what do you think about, like, what does it remind you of? This picture right here. I don't know if you can see it. Need to make it smaller, but that's a
Uh-huh.
story about it.
Oh my goodness. Well, this picture, dang it, it fell down. Where is it? This one. That one. That one there. So, this picture, let me look at it. Yeah. Oh man, this was great. So, this was my first show ever. I think I was 8 years old. And I'm doing a bend on a BC Rich Warlock with a red guitar cord and red shoes, giant Reeboks, with a Morbid Angel t-shirt, and I'm not using my amp, and Merchant's not using his drums, and there's something magical about that. Hey, there's a name on the back, Jen Kane. Shout out to Jen Kane for taking this picture. I don't know if it's blocking out if you can see that. Jen Kane Photography and her phone number. I should call her. You know, I put so much thought into my look on this picture. I've got bracelets and rings and all this stuff. Ooh, a pupling just walked in. Hello, Ignatius. I was just talking about you. Do you want to come on? Come here. No, come here. Yeah. Yeah, come. Right here. Do you want to? You just want pets. Okay. So let me talk about this picture. Magical moment. It's one of those things where it's like you have some kind of dream and it's like coming true so fast. You're like, oh dang, I wasn't ready, but let's learn as much as we can from this. And I remember a lot of people thought that I was going to be like, I don't know, shy or nervous. I really wasn't at all. I was ready to kill. I was just thinking, let me shred. Let me just go crazy up here.
You can show our screen now.
Oh, here we go.
Nice.
Jen Kane. Unreal.
Cool.
And I don't know, me and Merchant have always been a well-oiled unit of music. And whenever we go on stage, and it's the same thing to this day when we do Fodham Fest or live shows at CarlCon, when we go on stage, I'm so confident because I know Merchant is there with me. And I know what he does. I know he will impress people. And I know how to play off of what he's doing and how to work off of that and to accent what he's doing. So it's the utmost confidence. I'm confident what I'm doing, and I always was. In this picture, I was totally confident because I knew people would see Merchant drumming and go, damn, look at that kid go. And so I'm just thinking, how do I make him do that even more? I mean, I could just sit back and do nothing. He's got it. I just have to add on a little and some crazy riffs and be tight. So I was never nervous. Maybe if I went up by myself, I would have been. But I was just like, we got this. And another thing is, I would just be thinking that when I hear Merchant hit that kick, it was so loud because it was a real show. We were not playing in our basement anymore. This was a real PA where we went to see bands play live. Couldn't believe we're on the stage where we saw the legends. So when I heard that kick, or when I would actually look, and I still do this, I often look at the kick. This is just a music thing. If you're playing bass or guitar or something percussive, you just look at the drummer's foot and that pedal, and you just chug with it. Chung, 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 chung. And I would just focus in on that and try to do the best effing performance I could. Because all the nerves and stuff, all the fear and all the craziness and the shakiness, that's going to be there at like the beginning of the song one. After the beginning of song one, it's like, all right, we all know what this is. You know what this is. Get over yourself and let's play the damn music. And at that point, then it's like, all right, let's give them the damn music. Let's make it some good damn music. Let's play effing tight. Let's play heavy. And then you just start hitting harder, playing tighter, watching the drums more, listening to the drums more, and just going crazy. And just, thinking, how do I use now? And then once you get to that level, once you're kind of settled in on that pocket, then it's like, all right, how do we do stage presence? How do we get loud? How do I show them some crazy screaming? Make them go, wow, this kid can scream. And then when I have the opportunity, hit him with a big scream or hit him with a big riff. That's what I'm thinking here is like, let's kill him. Let's go crazy. And we did. I thought it was a great show. I have a VHS of it somewhere, I think.
VHS.
Yeah. Another thing, when I'm looking at this picture, is, again, we're not using our own equipment. For some people, that would be very uncomfortable because, like, oh, that's not what we practice on. That's not my amp. We always loved it. There was actually kind of a special energy when we'd get to play on other people's stuff because it was almost like, hey, we rented it, like Merchant more so because he would go nuts. He would just, be like, hey, let me smash these drums. They're not mine. If I break a drum head, oh well. If I break these, smash these cymbals into smithereens, oh well. Whereas in the basement, it's like, oh man, it's so expensive. These are my drums. If I break them, it's on me. I don't want to.
Yeah.
And for me, guitar amps at that age, I didn't understand what I was doing. I was always trying to find a good tone. But when I would show up and there would be adults in bands and they'd say, you can use my amp, it's like, great, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I just plug in and it sounds good.
That's crazy. It's a cool story. So you say you aren't really nervous when you play with Merchant. Why do you think that is?
Not yet, Ignatius. Why no nerves?
Yeah.
Well, Ignatius, please. Did you just have a bath or were you out in the rain? He looks like he's a wet dog. Here's the thing about nerves, I think it goes back to the fact that I had my brother. My brother was so talented, I knew it. I knew he was going to blow people's minds, and I just had to accent it. Also, I came from a musical family and a performance family. My father was a jazz drummer, performed more years than I can fathom. My mother was a singer, was a performer, was very, very good. And so I honestly believe that there was something in the ancestral DNA, calling back to what I was saying earlier, that got into me that just made me feel like, I think for some people, it's crazy to get a skill and then be like, oh man, you want me to do this and have people watch? That's crazy. For me, it was never like that. It really wasn't. It was a skill that I had down, and I was totally confident in what I could do. Here's another thing. At the core of art is ugliness. In other words, if you look at art and its developments and its history, it's not perfectionism that changes the world. Otherwise, we'd still only be doing white sculptures and, perfect photorealistic paintings, and that's all there would be. And the only music we'd listen to would be like perfect, perfect renditions of Mozart and stuff like that. Instead, imagine the first time someone used an electric guitar. Someone would probably like, why does it sound all distorted? What the hell is that? It's so ugly. The first time someone screamed in a song. The first time someone rapped. The first time someone did something that at first glance you go, well, that's stupid. Anyone could do that. I mean, that doesn't even sound good. Those were the things that really changed history. And those are the things that draw me to good music. I've always, when I was a young, I liked death metal and stuff that was more leaning toward punk than stuff that was more technical and leaning toward like perfectionism and like there's a virtuoso. When I was a young, I'd go to school and there were some kids in my school that could play piano or play violin really, really well. And I was like, man, I could never do that, but who cares? Don't listen to that. What I want to do is rock and roll. I want to make music like Cannibal Corpse. And I can do that. I can turn my distortion all the way up and just go, so I didn't care. I embraced the ugliness of that. And I think even still to this day, when I do my acoustic jamborees on stream, I'm not a good singer. I'm not actually singing well when I'm doing all that stuff. I'm singing. I'm doing my thing. And I can perform. I am not like Kelly Clarkson. I am not like Lee DeWise. I am not like, a real singer. I have never been a real singer. I just kind of belt it out and try to stay on key. And with that, through many, many years of practice, I can carry a tune. I can sing. But I don't care. I really don't. I'd rather sound like something punk and energetic than something perfect. And that also gives me confidence, because if I were trying to be a really, really good performer and a really, really good singer, then I'd be a little more scared. I'd be like, I don't know if I can do this tonight. I don't know if I'm good enough ever. But playing the songs I play, the songs that I write, the songs that I like, hey, I can do that anytime. You send me out on a stage, hey, we rock and roll, I'll bring energy. And that gives me confidence, because it's not about accuracy. It is. Accuracy helps, but giving people a good time, making people happy.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what the stage is for.
That before, yeah. Just having that crowd and yourself be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were dropped into a false-like boss fight, what would his boss moves be? Like if you were the boss, what moves would you have?
Well, if I were a boss battle, people would have to find a way to break through a mysterious facade. That would be the key. I would be the type of boss battle that is fairly squishy once you break through the facade, though. It's gonna take some doing, because it would be like one of those games with the gophers pop up. You hit them down with the mallet.
Yeah.
One thing pops up, you think you got it down, but then another illusion pops up. You knock that one down, another one pops up. So it'd be very difficult to break through this facade. It would take a lot of time. Once you do break down that shield of the facade, it would be a little bit squishy, admittedly. Now, I think it's important to admit our flaws, because no boss battle is perfect. No boss battle is unbeatable. So we have to admit what's our pas de mon French. A lot of bosses have an F me hole. In other words, a boss might be 10,000 feet tall and it's indestructible armor, but there's a little tiny red circle F me hole that you can shoot an arrow through or stab that can do a really big amount of damage. And I think a lot of people like to assume that their F me hole is almost non-existent, or they don't have one at all, but we do. I think it's important that we accept and be vulnerable enough to show our squishiness in our boss battles. That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah, well said. So does anyone in the audience have any questions for us? Any other questions? Think about it. And, well, I'd like to ask you as well, what are your, like, what do you say, inspiration?
There's an old saying, if you steal from one person, it's plagiarism. If you steal from everybody, it's research. I steal like crazy. I scroll my Twitch algorithm, and almost every day, I'll come upon a stream and go, ooh, that's a cool little idea. And it could be something very small. It could be a tiny, tiny little thing like, for example, I love your chat window. How that's sitting there. I know that's a little thing. Who cares? I love the movement. I like your production overall. I think you have a really great aesthetic. Little things like that I take note of, and the next I might not implement it now, but the next time I go on break and come back, I wouldn't be shocked if I have your exact chat layout. You know what I mean? And I do that. I look at a lot of streams. I sometimes don't even chat on them. I sometimes just lurk for 5 minutes. I see something, I'm like, cool. I don't even say anything. I just scroll on. Sometimes I do tell people, and I can be inspired by literally anything, any stream. And sometimes a YouTube show, or sometimes just life, sometimes entertainment. And that being said, I do have a lot of ideas I'm going to be implementing in the future. I can't do them now. It's next time I take a pretty decent sized break, I will work on that. But I get a lot of ideas, and I take them. And the bigger picture though, I have to give credit to Richard Burnish from JCL back in the day. Really shaped my mind about what a live stream should be. I gotta give credit to Frankie Palmieri from Imura, my friend. His music is infinitely inspiring. And a big one, I don't know if I talk about this much, I gotta give credit to the Merchant. Merchant is something I don't think people know about Merchant, because I know there are a lot of people watching this that think they know Merchant. They might be watching him right now. You might not realize Merchant knows a lot about fantasy. He's so well versed in like books and movies, fantastical ideas. That's inspiring for what I do. That's always been a big inspiration and a big part of what I do is, and in fact, really Merchant is behind a lot of what I do. Like, I remember a long time ago, Merchant says, I'm like, hey, why don't we just do like a comedy fantasy kind of show? And that's kind of what I ended up doing. And I remember once he said, why don't we do a show that's kind of like Flight of the Conchords, but, you know, with our kind of music. And that kind of became the Dark Knight of Black Coat arc. So one way or another, it might take a long time, by hook or by crook. You know, a lot of Merchant's ideas come to fruition through me and through the stream. And I gotta give Merchant a lot of credit for where I get. I mean, the question is, what's my inspiration? And I think the real thing you're looking for is, how did this wackiness come about? I gotta give a lot of credit to Merchant on that. If, you know, Merchant really is the source of a lot of what happens on stream, what has taken place. And, you know, Merchant might send me a message like, hey, you know what we should do in the next lore video? And it might not happen right away, but his ideas really shape long term the direction. So I gotta give a lot of credit there. Merchant also turned me on to stuff like Winter Sun and, you know, fantasy music like Ensiferum, Rhapsody, In Flames, stuff like that. So definitely merchant, big time merchant.
Yeah.
And hell, while I'm at it, because when I think of inspiration, let's be real. You know, it is Merchant and Gromulus. I gotta give it to Gromulus. Gromulus showed me like everything I know, obviously. And if not for Grom, I wouldn't know about Merciful Fate. I wouldn't know about death metal and all this stuff and horror movies. And ultimately, wouldn't so it's a familial thing, right? Is the biggest form of inspiration. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. We pick up so much. If you've got anyone that's listening to this that's got like an older brother that was into music that handed it down to you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So what is a dream collaboration of yours? Like if it was a streamer, content creator, musician, or what have you, who would it be and why?
Mr. Beast and I Show Speed and Kai Cenat. Because they'd be the biggest ones, and I could be famous immediately. No, in reality, I would love to do a collab with my former boss, Mike Quackenbush. I would love to do something with him. I don't know what or how, but he is so smart. He's also a big form of inspiration, and I learned a lot from him. A lot about entertainment and how to run shows. I'd love to work with Mike on something. Hell, I'd love to work with Frankie, too. My friend Frankie. It'd be so cool.
Yes, Crime Bastard. You didn't make it. You're here. So yeah, that's a...
Yeah. I mean, cool. I also love, like... I mean, I like doing this collab right now. Gosh, I want to collab with Merchant. Heck, I might go and heckin' jump on his stream tonight. And that's kind of the beauty of Twitch, right? It's so open. Yeah. We can do anything. It's so free. There's no gatekeeper. There's no schedule. There's no TV station. We can make entertainment out of anything. I can go collab with Hongito. I can go collab with Judgment Free Zone. I technically just collab with Crime Bastard at the Mage Tower. I can collab with Joy Evil. We can have Grom and Joy Evil do a stand-up comedy set together. We can do anything we want. It's beautiful. It's a great thing, and I'm so thankful for that. As much as people may talk bad about Twitch, myself included, the idea of it is such a fun opportunity and has so much potential for us to make the most of it. And I hope I am.
Very well said. Yeah, it'd be great to see a Grom and Joy set. That'd be awesome. Yeah, collabs are fun. So, what advice would you give to someone looking to start their streaming or content creation journey today? Like, what 3 things would you say?
Again, I think finding what you really love is so difficult. How do you do that? I mean, well, I would say if you want to jump into streaming, love it. Don't do it thinking things are gonna, become awesome from it. It goes back to the Jiro Dreams of Sushi thing of you have to try to work on finding a way to love the process, and that's like the key to everything. Actually, I don't know. I wish I had better advice for anything. What? Do what? Do what? Well, I need some advice.
The great wizard needs some advice, Chad. What should we
Yeah.
tell him?
Well, luckily, something that I've always preferred live. I love live entertainment. And it's a constant feedback. You can kind of feel what people are enjoying. If you should move on from something or they want something more, they'll just tell you. It's great. You know, if you do a YouTube video, you're not going to know what the heck to make of it until way after it comes out. Even then, you still don't really know. You can read the comments, but you don't know when they were commenting that. Live is great because it's that instant feedback. And that's great. But do it live! I think live is just... I've always been more fascinated with live. When I was a kid, you know, that's something great about wrestling. When I'd watch Monday Night Raw, I'd be like, man, anything can happen. Fan Man could fly in. And I'd see it live if it did. And then if it was a taped Raw, I would be like, yeah, I don't want to watch as much tonight. I read what's going to happen online. You know, it's still going to make a show, but it's not live. If a surprise guest shows up, you know, I want to know now. I love live. And again, that immediate feedback of people telling you in chat immediately, like, hey, this is what you should do, or this is, you know, what you're good at. I like this one. Do this song. Pump it up. You know?
Ooh, that's a good question, Peters. When would you want to learn how to play Minecraft?
What?
Would you want to learn how to play Minecraft?
Oh, I thought, okay. Yeah, I would.
Well, we got to set that up with Owl Tears and the rest of the community, yeah.
Yeah, we have some great Minecraft players. I know Bacon's pretty deep in.
Mm-hmm.
I know Public Introvert is deep in. We've got a bunch of great players, actually.
Yeah.
I would love to build a world and make some roller coasters. I used to play Minecraft a little bit back when it was on Xbox 360. And the best thing I ever did, I didn't do much, but I built like a roller coaster. Like I learned how to make the rails and the starting thing with the red dust. But that was, I feel like the game had like nothing in it compared to now. Everything's been updated, but I liked it. I've always liked Minecraft. Did you see the movie?
I did, yeah. It was good.
I liked it too. I went into it thinking I would hate it because, you know, I wasn't personally completely on the same page with the cast. I'm thinking, oh my God, is it, you know, Jack Black and Jason Momoa, and what is this going to be? I was thinking it'd be horrible. Yeah. But I watched it. It was good. And it actually stayed true to Minecraft. It made you feel like you were on an adventure in the Minecraft world. It's what you always wish for in a video game movie. It actually was, it was kind of inspiring, you know? It was like, wow, look how simple the story is. They go into the world, get the blue thing. At the end, they get the blue thing. Done. Dog goes missing, get the dog back. Easy. I loved it. It was very good. And Chicken Jockey. Can't forget that. That took over the world for a second. It was wonderful.
Yep.
You know, the deeper meaning of chicken jockey and up beneath the surface. You know, you don't just say chicken jockey. You know, when you say that, you picture explosions and people kicking at each other and panic and hysteria.
Yeah, like throwing popcorn, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting kicked out of theaters. As you do, yeah.
I love it. I thought it was great.
So I have some rapid fire question. Just
Please.
name the whatever comes to mind first. Favorite game,
Final Fantasy 2.
favorite movie,
Clockwork Orange.
and favorite TV show.
Beavis and Butthead.
Nice.
Season 2.
Oh, season 2. Why
Has to be
specifically
good.
that one?
Well, season 1 was almost non-existent. They were like very short episodes. It was still kind of in development. Those are good. They're not bad, but like I wouldn't watch those because they're like 5 minutes each, and they don't really have a through line of a story. It's like a 2-minute skit and then another 2-minute skit. So it's okay. But season 2 is when it became a real show, and season 3 was okay. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
After
still
that,
pretty good show. I mean,
yeah.
right
So
time,
Gromulus,
at least.
yeah, Gromulus told me the new ones are actually awesome.
Mm.
I gotta watch them.
Yeah, same.
I didn't expect that.
So, about to wrap up here, at least 2 questions. 2 more questions, unless Cat wants to come up with any other questions. So, can you share a fun fact about yourself that your viewers might not know?
A fun fact about myself that my viewers might not know. Well, a fun fact about myself is that I met Owen Hart when I was a child. This is a picture I never show. This is a good picture, by the way. You're gonna like this. So this is a picture of me and Merchant and Owen Hart. I don't know if that's coming
sick. Yeah,
through. Yeah.
I should have
Yeah.
comedy.
So when we were little, big wrestling fans, and I happen to have been a really big fan of Owen Hart. I'm making a good face in that picture, by the way. I should do like a proper scan to everyone can see it better. But I was devastated when he passed away, and I was always a huge fan of his. I thought he was even better than Brett in almost every single way. In fact, I would put Owen above Brett overall. Brett was a little better in some ways, but Owen's one of the greatest ever. And I can't believe I got to meet this guy. I don't really remember what it was like. Here's another shot. It's us on the other side of the table. I don't really remember what he was like, but I thought I remember it being fun. I was so young, it's hard to remember, but I remember it being really fun. And I think it was when you're really young and you interact with stars, it's such an informative thing as far as like it's like you're interacting with real magic. You know, these people feel like they're really supernatural. Owen Hart felt like a superhuman. And I think it informs us of what we expect from people, you know, because then you meet someone else and you're like, he wasn't as cool as Owen Hart, or if someone meets me, I'm going to be this way. So, yeah, there's a fun little fact. Me and Merchant, we met Owen Hart when I was a little kid.
Here's a fun question. Here's a fun question for you. If you were stuck on a desert island and you could only bring 3 objects with you, what would they be?
3 what?
Objects or things. Right?
Oh, okay. I actually thought you said hot drinks for a second, which would have been an interesting question. Objects. So I would bring, first things first, kinetic energy converter. Something that I can use to either wheel like this or wheel with my feet that will spin a wheel that will generate energy. Next would be an incredibly powerful modem. That's kind of cheating, right? Let's not do modem, because then I might as well just be in a hotel room somewhere. We'll do kinetic energy converter. We'll do a weapon. A very powerful, high capacity weapon. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say the word. But a strong, powerful weapon, just in case something goes down on that island. Creature, tribe. Next, last item would be maybe, now I'd be looking for something to either do some kind of farming. I don't know if that's possible. Seeds or some kind of irrigation machine. Maybe, you know what? Maybe like a good shovel or good tool. Starting to think like Minecraft now. Yeah, maybe a really sturdy shovel, like an iron, no, a titanium, unbreakable, perfectly curved, lightweight shovel with serrated, sharp edges that I could also use to cut and stab and yeah.
The elaborate shovel. I guess you could always take bronze, but instead.
It's a tough question. I don't know. I feel like an entire thesis could be written on that.
Right. So I think on that note, it was great to have you, Mr. ForestOfWires.
You're a true hero, Saturday. I'm so honored that you had me on. And heck, I gotta pay you back. I gotta have you on, maybe as a Mage Tower contestant, or I'm actually thinking of doing another interview batch, not a series, just like a night or two where we do Discord video calls to upload to YouTube. And I would love to have you on there.
Cool.
It's been an honor.
Yeah.
Always is.
Yeah, of course.
So thankful to have you in the council.
Of course. So, if you like to watch ForestOfWires on his stream, you can go to twitch.tv/ForestOfWires. Until next time, my friends, we'll see you on the flip side. Right. Have a good one.